Hi, I'm Georgia Leybourne, Chief Marketing Officer of Linnworks, and I am joined today by the infamous Chris Dawson, Editor-in-Chief of ChannelX and guru extraordinaire of all things retail.
Thank you very much. That's the best introduction I think I've had for a long time.
I think I'll live up to that now, Chris. So we're here today to talk about the State of Commerce Ops Report, which is one of the ebooks that Linnworks has recently put out to market, which I believe you have consumed over coffee.
Tea, not coffee.
Oh, tea.
I was so fascinated by it because it kind of lined up with some of the thinking I've been doing over the recent times, which is, if I take you back to before COVID, at those times, everyone was kind of on the big two in the UK. They were on eBay and on Amazon, and that more or less covered the whole country. And yes, there was a couple of others. There was Frugo knocking along, and there was Wish, and more recently OnBuy came along, another great marketplace. But it was fairly settled, and people pretty much had everything covered. Then COVID came along, and everyone that wasn't already on jumped on Amazon. And by everyone, I mean, everyone that wasn't already selling on Amazon, half the high street panicked and just like, get me on Amazon. But then post-COVID, it's got really interesting. We've got B&Q and Tesco's and Debenhams, and Temu and Shein, and TikTok Shop. And suddenly, along with eBay, Amazon and OnBuy, the number of marketplaces exploded. And I was quite encouraged when I was looking at the report because it said that about more than 50% of consumers now want to buy on a marketplace.
This is true.
And 60% of retailers are selling on marketplaces. I thought it was great when I was looking at the report and I saw about 70% of retailers are on 4 or 5 marketplaces. And then I realised just in the UK there's 8 or 9 marketplaces, and it drops down to about 4% for people on 6 marketplaces and like practically nothing for people on 7, 8, 9, 10 marketplaces. And I just think people have got so much work to do because the opportunities have expanded. And it's the same in the US. Yes, you've got eBay and you've got Amazon, but you've got Walmart and Macy's, and TikTok and Shein and Temu. Yeah. It's just growing across the world. So I think it was the report was fascinating reading. I thought we were going to in a good place, but I think we've got a lot of work to do to get in a good place.
I couldn't agree with you more. I think we do have quite a lot of work to do. And what's really fascinating for me is that we've been doing some analysis on whether or not one marketplace cannibalizes another marketplace. But interestingly, these marketplaces have very loyal customer followers who that's their first stop when they're looking for XYZ. So actually,
and it's different for different people.
It's different for different people. So diversification for the retailers is crucial, not only in terms of growing their potential, but also in terms of mitigating risk associated with just being on one channel.
Yeah, and I think 25 years ago, anyone that was on eBay that added Amazon, they didn't lose business, they kind of doubled their business overnight. And yes, Amazon is now probably more like 60, 70, 80% of their business. But you can add Debenhams on and it doesn't necessarily cannibalise Amazon or even touch eBay.
No.
And you can add B&Q on, and everyone knows B&Q, so the entire country has probably been in a B&Q store. Yeah. Tesco's, you'll get me buying my bread and milk and peas and suddenly there's a marketplace listing. I'm looking for cat food and suddenly there's a cat bed or a cat tree. And then TikTok is totally different because I know you're going to ask me what I bought on TikTok last, and it was sweets.
But what's crucial for me in that statement is everybody marginalises TikTok Shop as Gen Z only. I'm
a bit old to be Gen Z.
But as am I, but I shop on TikTok. And so do you. Yeah. So let's stop. Let's dispel this myth, Chris. TikTok is for all of us, the oldies as well.
There's so many more channels as well that we've not even touched. I mean, Temu is only just getting started, but Pinterest, Snapchat are looking really, really interesting. The shoppable pins are getting exciting. And then just last week, ChatGPT's just added shopping. And I know ChatGPT is going to direct you to a marketplace or a retailer's site, But there's a whole new channel to explore.
And what's fascinating is I think people are only just getting to grips with the potential of things like TikTok Shop, and now ChatGPT has come along.
Yeah.
People are going to be panicking, oh my God, I don't know how that works,
And
YouTube, trying to
you
figure
can
it out.
sell on YouTube,
Yep.
but I never hear of a retailer saying, I do really well on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, is it because they've not touched it yet, or is it because it's kind of been marginalised into the affiliate specialist?
This is also where the whole retail media spectrum starts to come into play, because retail media has taken off a storm, along with AI, is actually changing the world of Google search completely, and particularly Google Ads. So coming back to the State of Commerce Ops report, one of the things that, because this is the second year now that we've published this report, and one of the things that always fascinates me is this is market research backed. So we go out to the retail community and say, okay, all of you retailers, what do you think the consumer wants, and what are you doing in your business to cater to them? And then we go to the consumers
ask them the same
and
thing.
we say, hey, what do you want from the retailers? Speed of delivery versus reliability of delivery. Talk to me about that.
I honestly don't care when it's going to arrive. I mean, it's Wednesday today. You might say it's going to be here tomorrow on Thursday. I live in the country, so it's not going to be the same day. Might be Friday, might be Saturday. I don't even care if it's Monday next week. Just tell me when it's going to be. What I want is tracking. I want someone to say, here's the tracking number. It's expected in 2 days' time. And if I want to know where it is, I can log on tomorrow morning and just check the tracking and see if it's out for delivery yet or if it will be still in transit. That's all I want. I just want to know when it'll arrive. Very rarely do I need stuff tomorrow.
But the challenge with that is there are 3 things you need to be able to do that as a retailer. You need to know what inventory you have. You need to have really good partners in terms of your fulfillment partners or shipping partners. And you need some technology to map it all together.
It's worse than that, because you said you need to know what inventory you have. I'd add some caveat. You need to know what inventory you've got and where it is.
Absolutely.
Is it in a local shop? Is it in a southern warehouse or a northern warehouse? Or if you're selling abroad, is it in the UK or is it in the US or Europe?
Yeah. And God forbid somebody says to a consumer, well, I've got one in the store, but I need to take it from online stock because you ordered it online.
No.
But it still happens, Chris.
Do you remember that horrible music that was out a few years ago, Mr. Fox, that everyone went mad for? I've got a friend and she just went crazy for Mr. Fox. And 2 days before Christmas, she said to me, oh my God, Debenhams are doing Mr. Fox onesies. That's all I want for Christmas. Debenhams' website had sold out. Everyone had sold out. But I rang Debenhams. I said, have you got any in store? I'm in Berkshire, so I'm thinking Reading, Basingstoke, Oxford. And they put me on hold for 20 minutes and come back and said, yeah, we've got some in Blackpool. That's 250 miles away. I'm like, okay, thank you very much. I started ringing the local stores myself. And it was tricky, but I rang the Reading store and I actually conned them into going and checking on the shop floor. They said, oh, yeah, size 10, we got half a dozen of them. I'm like, great, I'm on my way. But they didn't actually know what stock they'd got. And the other thing, the worst thing ever you can do to me is when I order something for collecting store and I go into store on the day it's meant to be there and they say, oh, sorry, it's not come in yet. It might come in later today. And I can see loads of them on. Can I just take one? Oh, no, you can't take one off the rack because yours is the e-commerce stock, not the store stock.
But also the fact that they said it might come in today, but I'm not sure. Did you see what the report said about the company's capability of seeing how much inventory?
You might as well have saved your money of sending it to the store and just got someone to go and pluck one off the shelf and said you can pick it up within the hour.
But it's almost a quarter of organisations who are saying that they don't have a handle on their inventory availability.
I know, and the stat that shocked me was you've got a chart which shows everyone in the business, from the manager to the CEO. You've even got board members on there. But the one that shocked me was the COOs. 22% of CEOs, according to the report, don't know where their inventory is or even necessarily what inventory they've got. And I think it goes back to the early days of marketplaces when you would use eBay and have a marketplace team to sell off what is effectively your distressed stock. Often it would have been end-of-line returns from stores when they just had 1 or 2 left and sent them back. It could be returns. It could be damaged stock. But you'd have a marketplace team and say, right, we want you to sell off this pool of stock. And they'd have literally an eBay pool of stock. And that eBay team would go out and they would buy a solution to manage it. And it might be something like a Linnworks, but there's loads of solutions they'd get. And that team would then have a solution. But the rest of the business had no idea what they were doing. The COO certainly couldn't see what inventory they'd got.
And the team over there might be using something completely different on a different channel.
Yeah, the Amazon team would be a separate team.
So that really comes down to that technology, people, processes piece.
But I think it's been a case of needs must. You've set up your marketplace team and the marketplace manager said, look, I can't do this manually. I need some software. And they said, okay, we'll give you a budget, go get some software.
Yeah.
But it's not come from the CTO and it's not come from a company top down. And don't forget, nowadays, I might want to know what you're in stock, because nowadays I wouldn't have to go to the Reading store. I'd get an Uber or Deliveroo to do it for me. So you need to know what stock you've got and where that stock is.
Yeah.
And I think as businesses start to look at refreshing their tech stack, they need to look at all of the business, not just
Absolutely.
the website, not just the stores, not just the eBay team, the Amazon team, the Debenhams team, the Tesco's team, but a solution that encompasses the entirety. Because it means if they've run out in the warehouse, but they've got 10 of something on a rack in 100 stores over they've got 1,000 they could sell. They've just got to be able to pick them.
But I think one of the things that's coming more and more to the fore, and it's been around for a good decade now, is this whole concept of distributed order management to really, really take hold of the inventory visibility, flow, and the decision-making associated with it. The moment you surpass 4 or 5 channels, you've got stores, you've got online, you've got marketplaces. They all need to be dealt with as one, with one inventory pool, one set of rules for fulfillment, one set of integrations. It doesn't matter if you've got multiple shipping partners, but so long as they're on the same platform.
And retailers know this because they're getting so smart now. Everything's barcoded, it's scanned at the till. Most stores don't do what they did 20 or 30 years ago, which is put in an order to head office to be replenished. Yeah. Head office knows what you're selling and they will just send you stock that they think you should have. But I think the retailer that I absolutely adore, because they were way ahead of anyone on inventory management, is Argos. So do you remember the days of the Argos catalogue?
Oh, completely.
I've missed that so much. But you'd go into the Argos store and you'd flick through the laminated Book of Dreams. You'd get that little pen, the same as you get in betting shops and banks, and you'd write your number down. But before you wrote your number down, they had those blue boxes that you'd stamp the number in, press enter, and it'd say 3 in stock. And you'd be like, magic, got 3 in stock. But more importantly, it'd tell you when it's out of stock. But that wasn't into the story, because what Argos did when it was out of stock is that would ping head office and say, someone wanted to buy this, and we didn't have it. And they used that as their inventory management. They'd wait for someone to try and buy something, and when it's not there, they'd say, people in Chris's area want to buy this.
But I also think they invented the concept of the micro-fulfillment centre with their sort of, back office warehouse that they
Even
had.
now, you'll see the adverts on the TV for Argos same-day delivery.
Yeah, I know, it's fascinating. So coming back to the core of our discussion today, which is the state of e-commerce ops, let's just touch on the topic of AI, because we can't leave the room without talking a little bit about AI. So how do you think AI can help with some of the challenges that retailers are experiencing in today's market?
There's so much that AI can do. I mean, I sold a few things on eBay last week, and I didn't even write a description. eBay's just got a button that's AI, and it just searches the web, pulls the information together and does it for me. And I think that's fascinating and interesting. I see also retailers starting to use AI to generate pictures. Rather than paying a model, they'll AI the clothes onto a model. And it's all about cost and time saving. But I think where it's going to be fascinating is when AI starts telling them what inventory to buy and where to put that inventory. Should you have the inventory in your warehouse or in the stores? Should it be in the south, in the north? Should it be in the UK or America or Europe? Where's that inventory going to be? And I mean, we often use Amazon as an example, and we know that Amazon have been using AI or at least machine learning for years gradually reducing their reliance on buyers. And if AI says they should be buying 1,000 something, some of their buyers have looked at it and like, got to be kidding me, my job's on the line if I order that lot and it doesn't sell. And they like, okay, they've learned that the AI can predict better than a human on what inventory to buy in the first place. And I think for smaller retailers, and everyone's smaller than Amazon, let's face it, it's going to take time for them, A, to be able to afford to invest in the technology, and B, for them to have confidence to rely on AI to not do their work for them, but start guiding them and taking some of the donkey work away.
And do you think there are any use cases for AI which is counterproductive to the success of retail?
I always think relying on it too much and getting rid of the humans is a really bad idea, because AI can only ever operate based on the data that it's got. I mean, let's face it, ChatGPT, we all know, it's basically 2 years out of date, but it's good on stuff like, what's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Is it going to be barbecue weather? Do we need to stock up on barbecue food or barbecues themselves, depending whether I'm a food retailer or a B&Q? But AI can only go so far. It can't really predict what's going to be the fashion trend for next year, what's going to be the top colours for next year. It would be very hard for AI to predict that everyone would start painting their doors and windows grey, which I absolutely hate, by the way. Give me white windows and doors. But a lot of people like them by the looks of things. But it's hard for AI to like get into the sort of the real.
It's that balancing act, isn't it, of keeping that human interaction alive? Because at the end of the day, people do buy people.
But I think once you found a product and that product's sold and it's proven it's successful, using AI to predict how much inventory to buy, where to put the inventory, what months of the year should be upping your orders for that inventory. I think AI can do so much and pick up on things that a human just hasn't got a hope of doing.
Okay, so on the topic of predictions, and let's not rely on AI here, we're going to rely on Chris Dawson, who is definitely still human. I don't think you're a robot yet, but you never know when you might be cloned. What is going to be the number one e-commerce trend by the end of this year?
One word, Temu.
Ooh.
It's going to shock everyone. Temu are only just getting started. And I think they have so many advantages that other platforms like eBay and Amazon could have only dreamed about. When I was first selling on eBay, I was still getting paid by checks and postal orders. DPD would only deliver to a business address. I was on eBay before PayPal when there was eBay's own bill point payment system, which they foolishly scrapped and bought PayPal because everyone in the States was using it. Bill point was great in the UK, although everyone hated it because it was a bit rubbish. But it's taken eBay 25 years to get eBay payments in.
Yeah.
But for Temu, everything's already there. All of the infrastructure from the payments to the inventory to the distribution networks, everything's in place for them. So what took eBay and Amazon 25, 30 years is going to take them 5.
So watch this space. Temu's coming.
Also, people are saying that the regulatory environment is mitigating against Temu's success with things like tariffs and de minimis charges going away and everything. Actually, that's not where Temu want to play. They're busy recruiting local sellers.
And this is another myth that needs dispelling, is the fact that Temu is not just cheap Chinese goods. And interestingly, I think they're playing even harder here in the UK because of the tariff situation. But
I think it's going to shock people just how fast they grow. And I've spoken to some big brand names and said, you're going to be on Temu anytime soon. I'm like, you got to be kidding, we wouldn't touch it. But they were saying the same thing about eBay and Amazon 20 years ago. They were saying the same thing about eBay and Amazon. And another big thing to know is that who is the first unified commerce solution to integrate with Temu? Oh, I know it's Linnworks.
It's Linnworks, yay.
Yeah, you're back to good horse there. I may be wrong, but I'm pretty confident it's going to shock people.
Okay, second prediction. Are you ready for this? What's the biggest mistake retail is making today?
Honestly, the biggest mistake is thinking because you're on 4 or 5 channels, you're doing well. You're just in with the 70% of other people. It's the 2 or 3% that are on 7, 8, 9 channels. I know some people that are on 20 channels. And something we've not even mentioned today is the dropship marketplaces through your partner Virtual Stock, like the John Lewis's, the Robert Diases of the world, the Currys of the world. There are so many channels out there that people just don't even consider to be a channel. And I mean, Matalan, who knew they had a marketplace?
And what do you think it is that's holding retail back from embracing marketplace expansion?
Technology and people.
Okay.
Technology, it's really, really hard. I've spoken to retailers and they've told me, look, Chris, by the time we get through Christmas and then Valentine's, Mother's Day and Easter, we've got a few months in the summer where we might onboard one channel, but then we're getting into Amazon Prime in June and the Amazon big sale in the autumn, and then Prime and then Christmas and Q4. And they're literally saying, we can only adopt one channel a year.
But that drives me
that's
crazy.
Because they don't have the technology, because you can almost push a button if you had everything in place.
Oh, my goodness me. That's such an opportunity for Linnworks, because we can help onboard multiple channels through one platform.
Yeah, and the one thing that annoys me about Linnworks users is they will buy, and not just Linnworks, but any solution they go and buy. They'll buy a solution and they'll just use it for
what they need that
order
day.
Management and shipping, and they won't use it for all of the insights and inventory management and everything else it does.
The inventory management, the
and
stock
only
thinking.
The marketplace team will use it. The whole company doesn't have access.
Okay.
And that is a big mistake, I think.
Okay, so we've got Temu, we've got technology. Third question, one word to describe the future of e-commerce.
Accelerating.
I love it. Chris, thank you so much for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.